It is the prophets of God that have been sent to America that truly should shock the listener. Dmitry Duduman is one of such prophets. He lived from 1932 to 1997. He was a Romanian evangelist who stood against the communists of that nation by smuggling in Bibles. He eventually was expelled from Romania to the USA. God sent him to America with warnings of the coming judgment upon that nation.
Lord, what did I do that you punished me? Why did you bring me to this country? I have no money, Lord. I have no food. I don't have a bed to let my head down on. Lord, why? Why did you bring me to this country? I don't even have a place to let my head down. He said, Dimitri, I brought you to this country because this country will burn. So why'd you bring me here to burn and then let me die in jail in my own country? He'd just say, this is California. This is Las Vegas. What I have shown you is that Sodom and Gomorrah, its sin has reached God. And God has decided to punish it through fire. And one day it will burn. He came and showed me New York. This is New York. It is also a Sodom and Gomorrah. And one day it will burn. He came and he showed me Florida. This is Florida, he said. This is as Sodom and Gomorrah. And one day it will burn. I said, what will you do with me though? He said, I told you to be quiet. And he brought me back to the place we left. He said, now we talk. I brought you to this country because I love this country. I love the people in this country. And through your mouth I want to wake up a lot of people. Again he said, America will burn. I said, but how can America burn when it's so powerful? He said, remember and tell them. He said, you reach TV stations and radio stations and churches, but tell them everything I tell you. Hide nothing. America will burn. But again, how will it burn? He said, tell them this. The Russian spies have found out where the most powerful nuclear plants in America are. When Americans will think it's peace and quiet and everything's perfect, some groups from the inside will revolt against the government. The government will be occupied with the revolution, and then from the ocean, out of Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, and two other countries that I can't remember. They will bombard the nuclear plants in America, and America will burn.
There are many prophets that have prophesied destruction upon the USA. Everything from tidal waves, earthquakes, nuclear explosions, military dictatorship and slavery. Certainly, there have been false prophets, and they have been proven so. Some have been correct sometimes and wrong at other times. The following are a smattering of other prophets that have sounded the same alarm. Henry Groover started his walking prayer ministry in 1961 at the age of 18. The following recounts his vision.
And the submarines were sitting there aimed at America. I saw them sprinkled all the way across the East Coast. When I saw that, my family at that time lived in Portland, Oregon. I was alarmed, of course, and I wanted to look over toward Portland to see what was going on. And as I looked across the continent of the United States of this globe, I saw the submarines from way up by Washington, the top of Washington, all the way down around towards San Diego, poised in the same way all the way along our coast from the north, from the Pacific sides. Then something else caught my attention. I began to see radio towers going up all across the nation. And these radio towers, as they went up, the dotted lines began going out as though they were transmitting. And then there was an alarm went off in me. They're sounding the alarm. We're going to be under attack. The siege is laid. When all of a sudden I was watching these radio dots going out like the transmitting of a warning, and instead of the people being warned, they sprinkled to the ground like dust. And an alarm went off in me, and I cried out in the heavens, and I said, oh God, they won't even know what hit them. And at that time, all of a sudden, I looked down on the eastern seaboard at the submarine was drawn to that one right off from New York City. And I saw the missile come right out of that submarine and go right up and come right over the city of New York, and the entire city disappeared. Then I looked down, on down toward Florida. Down there, I could see another explosion take place. I looked across because of my family being in the Pacific Northwest. I looked across, another explosion took place up by Seattle, Bellevue. And then another one down by San Francisco. And another one down toward Los Angeles, and another one toward San Diego.
Rick Wiles is the True News radio presenter, and he's also a pastor. In 1998 he was working for TBN, and he had this vision in TBN's chapel. On the same day he left TBN.
Now, whether you believe me or not, it doesn't matter. I'm telling you the truth. And I understand when people talk about visions that that's a subjective thing and you have to make your own mind if that really happened. But I'm going to tell you what happened to me. It was like a movie screen appeared in front of me, and I watched buildings on fire. Big skyscrapers on fire. I saw the smoke billowing out of the buildings. I saw Americans staggering out of the cities. Their faces were ashen. They were in shock. They looked like they couldn't believe that they were alive, that they had survived what had just happened. And I said, Father, what is this? What am I seeing? And I heard in my spirit, he said, son, this is America's future if your nation does not repent.
The following vision is recounted by A. Allen from 1954. He was primarily an evangelist. Then suddenly I saw from the Atlantic and from the Pacific and out of the Gulf rocket-like objects that seemed to come up like fish leaping out of the water. High into the air they leaped, each headed in a different direction, but every one towards the US. On the ground the sirens screamed louder, and up from the ground I saw similar rockets begin to ascend. To me these appeared to be interceptor rockets, however they arose from different points all over the US. However, none of them seemed to be successful in intercepting the rockets that had risen from the ocean. These rockets finally reached their maximum height, slowly turned over and fell back towards the Earth in defeat. Then suddenly the rockets which had leaped out of the ocean like fish all exploded at once. The only thing I have ever seen which resembled the thing I saw in my vision was the picture of the explosion of the H-bomb in the Pacific. David Wilkerson lived from 1931 to 2011. Internationally respected pastor, he authored the book The Cross and the Switchblade. He released the following prophecy in 1985. America is going to be destroyed by fire. Sudden destruction is coming and few will escape. Unexpectedly and in 1 hour a hydrogen holocaust will engulf America and its nation will be no more. The great Holocaust follows an economic collapse in America. The enemy will make its move when we are weak and helpless. America will not repent. We have a few clues that point to the timing of the attack on America. According to the above prophets, it will be preceded by civil rioting in the US and also by an economic collapse. Both of these eventualities have become more and more probable with each passing